The heliocentric theory is the world's largest religion. Why religion? Because the theory is a mental construct designed to be accepted as true without any real scientific proof. The theory only works if you accept theoretical concepts based on false assumptions, like how far away the stars and the sun are, accepting third-hand claims and testimony from a handful of government-controlled astronauts and institutions, accepting doctored composite images as proof, like all space, rocket, satellite, ISS, and Earth imagery given to us, and only works if you appeal to authority because you accept the claim that they are way smarter than you, or because you aren't a scientist. The heliocentric model was designed to replace old world myths of God and or gods like those of Jesus, Krishna, Allah, Buddha, the Greek pantheon, etc., with theoretical, pseudo-intellectual jargon, fake imagery, and number-based constructs no one can verify but the ones at the top of the hierarchy, i.e. astronauts and mainstream astrophysicists, the new priesthood. That way, even if different cultures were to still hold their beliefs in different gods, the whole of Earth would still be unified and be able to be steered by their belief of the heliocentric model, which is in fact no different than any other faith-based religion. The heliocentric model is unfalsifiable, unscalable, and thusly untestable and unscientific. Like any other faith-based religion, it only works in the realm of one's imagination. Just like religion, the heliocentric theory comes with its own long-winded books that can only be properly interpreted and understood by those that most strongly regurgitate and most of all believe its theoretic rhetoric. Just like religion, it comes with its own explanation of our origins. In the heliocentric version, we came from a bang that sprang from a void of nothingness, a theory that you and I cannot possibly test or demonstrate. Just like religion, it comes with a hierarchical structure of learned, infallible men that have a closer relationship with the wrathful God universe that can squash you in the blink of an eye. Instead of a toga-wearing man in the sky, it comes with stories of a sun that can explode or implode at any time. It comes with a hierarchy of men that graduated with degrees in theoretical astrophysics and space institutions filled with superhero-like astronauts that have things under control. Just like religion, the heliocentric theory comes with its own larger-than-life prophets like Einstein, Armstrong, and Newton that blessed the world with testimony and wisdom of their truth. Prophets that endured hardship and rose above all odds to get the message out. Because as we all know, Copernicus and Galileo were so misunderstood in their day, but now they're to be revered and never questioned. Just like religion, the heliocentric theory comes with its own version of original sin, where humans are demoted to groveling, unworthy subjects that need to pay tithes to exist. The theory makes individuals mere accidents, mistakes that sprang from a puddle of primordial soup. Individuals that need to be ashamed of breathing because their existence adds to the dangerous levels of CO2 that might one day create another flood of mythical proportions, like in the days of Noah. And just like religion, where believers can ward off sickness by praying to a god and paying the priest hierarchy for exorcisms and elixirs, the heliocentric religion also has their own method of treating illness called allopathy, where invisible, ever-mutating viruses and germs that strike their victims down without warning are treated with acidic chemicals and scalpels. Just like the priests of yesteryear who used to turn scabs into powders to ward off demons that made people ill, doctors in white coats now inject animal cells and heavy metals into your bloodstream in order to keep the latest and newest animal flu away from you. Illnesses couldn't have anything to do with all the chemicals and animal products the populace introduce into their bodies on a daily basis, now can they? Just like religion, it even comes with its own version of angels, watchers, called satellites. Satellites that keep a watchful eye of Earth from above in order to warn us of impending danger. Just like angels, you and I cannot observe these satellites, but they can surely zoom into your window and tell if you've been good or bad. And just like religion, the heliocentric theory comes with its own imagery, symbolism, and iconography. Instead of a cross, a mandala, crescent moon, or star, you get a CGI globe that's passed off as real. Globes that are never consistent in shape, detail, or color. CGI and cartoon globes that are seen at every corner, printed on every banner, shown in every movie or television show, inserted into every charitable or non-profit organization logo, and even plastered in your Sunday church pamphlet. The heliocentric religion was melded into the minds of the masses around the same time the majority gained literacy. When printing presses gave way to mass production and distribution of printable materials only the priest classes had access to years prior. The population was finally able to interpret the holy books only the priests had the ability to do previously. Since people could now freely interpret theological books and find God on their own, they would soon need to put in place a new control structure that did away with the idea of God altogether, whilst remaining as center authority and keepers of exclusive higher knowledge. Those who controlled the Roman Catholic Church, the prevailing social controllers at the time, then had to devise a new method, a new set of ideologies to serve as its new mind control program. In order to usher in a new era where the concepts of a creator was no longer needed and where only technocrats, learned men appointed and certified by the church, could explain the intricate workings of the heavens correctly, they utilized their own agents: Pythagoras, Kepler, Copernicus, Galileo, Newton, Lemaitre, Einstein, etc. These agents would later on be exalted in government-sponsored textbooks as geniuses, rebels that went against the system to liberate humanity from oppression. These agents serve as the apostles, the heroes, the saints of the heliocentric religion. See, the heliocentric theory is but a rehash of sun-centered religions. In the case of heliocentrism, Earth, and by extension you and I, will never reach the center point of importance. You are but a deformed monkey, a speck of dust on a spinning piece of rock in a chaotic universe that needs the sun to exist. Sinful humans are nothing unless to go through the sun via the religious hierarchy made up of men that know better than you. These religious myths and their corresponding holy books, which held many shapes over time, served as templates of control. And even though many of these texts were filled with common sense truths and wisdoms, and they had to in order to remain palatable for people to believe the rest of it, their main purpose was to serve as vehicles where clergy and royalty always had exclusive seat next to God, a seat that justified their rule over the rest of the populace and the reaping of all the benefits that come with it. Astrologers, people that observe the sky and theorize about the meanings of its movements, have for centuries played a large role in ruling the minds of the populace. Observations of the sun, moon, constellations, wandering stars, and interpretations of what they meant gave way to an astrologically based system of mental control where people with claims of higher knowledge of the heavens became closer to the gods. Because of this, in order to access God, you then would have to visit these learned men at the nearest temple, church, synagogue, mosque, etc., because only then could this middleman, authority figure, who had divine and exclusive access to God, provide you with absolution and a guarantee to the promised land, as long as he performed for them in the form of land, labor, penance, tithes, taxes, levies, etc. This is how kingdoms, nations, countries, and cults successfully operate. People for millennia have placed their trust in people that claimed they had higher authority to rule them economically, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Kings and emperors found it necessary to have their subjects believe they had something they did not, that they had supreme authority over the commoner because God said so. These authority figures developed stories, literature, and illusion so that they could justify themselves being the go-between, the mediator between God and the rest of humanity. They built awe-inspiring cathedrals in years past to remind the masses of their godly glory. And now, similarly, they use beautiful CGI imagery of planets and galaxy clusters to emotionally tie us to their false claims. That's the game that authority, priests, clergy, kings, emperors, and now technocrats have used for ages in order to keep everyone in the dark. The truth is that no one on Earth can access the heavens. Humans are limited as to how far they can go up in the sky. It's no coincidence that the church created the first observatories. It's no coincidence that the church financed Copernicus and Galileo. It's no coincidence that a Catholic Jesuit came up with the Big Bang Theory. The church indoctrinated the whole of Earth with new stories, fables, and theories on how things in the sky actually worked. They utilized accounts of Greeks measuring shadows with sticks, electronically powered pendulums, fake moon landing footage, and men in sheds with lead balls observing gravity, which is nothing more than the god of the gaps in the heliocentric model, the piece that makes it all work, where illogical leaps could be explained by an ever-changing elusive force to convince the populace that their senses were incorrect. They would then be able to say with all sincerity that what you're looking at is a mirage. You're perceiving it all wrong. Listen to us. We have the big telescopes. We have the smart men over here that know things. We have the exclusive higher knowledge you'll never attain without our certification. Trust us, we know what's best for you. That's how humanity went from knowing they were living on a motionless stationary plane to believing they lived on a spinning, magical potato rock suspended in the vacuum of space. That's how the royal elite, who had ruled ecclesiastically wearing long, flowy robes and tall mitre hats, transitioned into business suits and lab coats. Now they could rule people using global fear propaganda. They no longer needed an angry god. They now could claim that the sun could explode at any time. They could now claim that sunshine could kill you. They could claim that at any time a nuclear bomb could drop on your head. They could now claim that an asteroid could demolish and wipe you out like the dinosaurs. They could now claim that humans are at constant odds with nature and that government would serve as protector from the universe's wrath. They could now blame humans for rising and cooling temperatures and use CGI satellite imagery to prove it. They could now tax the human race for breathing. No longer would they need to pass the collection plate for absolution. They could now charge you for your sinful carbon footprint. They could now keep you in fear because science, theoretical, speculative science, mind you, said so. They have convinced the whole of Earth to trust in them and to distrust in their own senses. It's the only way systems of control work. They remove the trivium from the school systems in order to stop critical thinking. The trivium method outlines a concept and order of input, processing, and output. It illustrates how to apply critical thinking to any subject you may come across. It liberates the mind from belief and outside control. Knowledge is power is the old adage, and it holds true for a reason. Con men for centuries have convinced others they could access the heavens and skies, and that's how they've managed to keep others in bondage. The truth is that everyone on Earth is on equal level ground, but in order to make control structures work, imbalance is needed. That's why they made everyone believe they're on a spinning rock hurtling through space. It's not easy to balance on a thing like that, now is it? Only through imbalance can hierarchy, classes, castes, and royalty justifiably exist. This is why they lie about our reality, to keep things in chaos, to disrupt the balance, to take everyone off an equal footing. The more you unravel the lies, the more you begin to realize that your senses can be trusted. You'll begin to come into your own and once again become your own observer, tester, and yes, scientist of the natural environment that surrounds you. You'll begin to unshackle the mental chains you never knew you had. You'll begin to experience things as they are. You'll finally be able to discern the real from the imaginary.